Hi everybody, I'm Chad Koel for Northland Outdoors. Hey, we had a great morning on the water. Brought home a mess of fish, crappies, even threw in a beautiful bonus walleye in the process. We get them home, they're in the bucket. Now what do we do? Well, to be honest, this is the very best part because we get to clean them and we get to eat them. And that really is what it's all about when it comes to catching these fish, in my opinion. So I'm going to show you how I fillet panfish in particular, because if you spend a lot of time fishing with your kids are fishing out on the dock and they're giving you the old dad, mom, can we keep this fish? Well, odds are it's either a sunfish or a crappie, and you're going to have to know how to clean it. I do it a little bit differently than a lot of people do, and I'd like to show you how I get that done. So I start right behind the gill plate, and I make a cut top to bottom, right in front of his dorsal fin, right up here at the top of the backbone, straight down to his belly. Just one incision. I'm going to turn my knife towards the back, and I'm going to make a cut right along the belly above his bottom fin, right here, all the way to the tail. Just making a quick cut along there. Okay, now I have a 90-degree cut. Now most people would continue with a normal, what we'd call a traditional fillet. They'd go from here, cutting right through the rib cage all the way to the back, and they get those rib bones out later. I do it a little bit differently. At this point, once I've made this cut and this cut, I flip the fish around. Again, knife towards the tail, blade towards the tail. I go in here, and I go right along the backbone, which is right here, and I cut in down to the rib cage. I can feel it. See, the blade actually stops on the rib cage, the top of the rib cage. So I go down along the backbone, top of the rib cage. The reason I do this is because I feel I get a lot more of the meat off of the back strap area, which is right along here. This is the best meat on the fish than I do when I do a traditional fillet. A lot of times when you do a traditional fillet, you're not maybe at an angle like this or angled up or tilt a little, and you lose quite a bit of that meat. Now, that's one of the reasons I do it. The other, it's just a lot neater, and I'll explain that in a second. Once I get down to the rib cage, I start pulling back the fillet with my thumb, and you can see, start exposing the ribs, and I just keep dragging the blade, good sharp blade, very important, along the ribs and peeling the meat back as I do that. Continue working all the way to the back, along. We get to here, I turn my angle a little bit, and I start just cutting right along, but down to that incision I already made. Again, now you can plainly see the ribs, there they are. And we're gonna strip right along that rib cage and keep doing that all the way back till we've got it to where we're at. Rib cage now has been completely taken care of. The other reason I love this method is we don't get into the innards, so to speak, the guts, okay? When you do a traditional fillet, you cut all this out and then you've got the guts hanging out and then you've got the stomach and everything else, and that's okay, but it gets a lot messier when you do that. And once we've got it exposed off of the ribs like that, I simply flip it around, and then I fillet it the old-fashioned way right out to the tail. And there you have it. One beautiful fillet, one side, all of that meat along the backbone intact, and then all that's left, the deboning process is done already. Now we're just going to skin it. Skinning, very simple. Start at the tail. I hold it down with a fingernail, cut down to the skin, and then just with your knife at about a 45-degree angle, you just work back and forth, keep some pressure down, and you'll pull right along the meat and the skin, and bam. One beautiful fillet of crappie right there. Minnesota crappie. Doesn't get any better than that. Have my little pan of water always at the ready. Throw that in there, we're ready to do the other side. Other side exactly the same in reverse. I start with a cut right behind the gill plate. Okay, I'll flip him so his belly is towards me, and I'll make a cut along the belly to the tail, just like that. Now I'll go in the back, right down to the bump, bump, bump. I can feel it bumping against the rib cage. I'll keep my knife right along the backbone, right on the top side of the dorsal fin, right back to the tail. And now I just start carving it back and peeling it back with my other hand. Okay, here we go. We go up and over, same idea, the rib cage. All the way to that cut I previously made. Keep peeling as you go. You want to keep a little pressure on here because that gets the meat to just pop right off with your knife strokes. Get to this point, flip it back over, slide it right out to the tail. Second one. Now if you take a look, you can see right through that guy. We didn't leave a bit of meat on that fillet at all. Okay, second fillet. All we're gonna do, down to the skin, hold the skin, and just work it slow back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. Right off we go. And another delicious fillet of crappie, ready for the hot oil swim in the fry pan. And there you have it. It's as simple as that. Here we have a beautiful batch of crappie fillets ready to go into a Crisco oil hot tub.